very well for Syracuse. They're 11th in the country in shooting percentage, North Carolina 9th. So when they get open, they will find the net. So a lot is going to be on the shoulders of the goalkeepers and at the face-off X as well. Both these teams have struggled a little bit of late. So this is a key matchup. Whether we get Fopp and Tucci, we'll see Andrew Tyre a bit. Might see Danny Varello and Jack Savage, the freshman for Syracuse. But we're underway, and it's Tucci who wins it immediately for North Carolina.
You cannot wear down your defense because of your lack of ability to clear the ball.
Second midfield unit in now for Coach Bresci in North Carolina. Getting an opportunity to see Henry Schertzinger in low to McCarthy. He scores! Looks like they may wave it off. No, they're going to let it go. Carolina thought they might have called him in the crease, but he's good, and Coach Bresci applauding that effort.
Yeah, I thought McCarthy had his breakout game last time out with 3 goals, but this is the ball movement that I was talking about. This ball movement, this is Kelly here. Hitting the backside, McCarthy, the 3 goals against Virginia.
Alex Trippi, number 1. Again, part of the second midfield line that Coach Bresci has been very pleased with, along with Schertzinger there, number 2, with the ball in his cross. Top to Trippi. Gray has a lot of room, and he scores! Paul, how does Chris...
The answer for that. Chris Gray leads the nation in overall points, 60 points in 10 games. He's the marked man. How does Chris Gray have that much time and room? If Chris Gray wanted to, he could have taken another 2 seconds. That's ridiculous.
Bresci said, well, that's because he was working harder than anybody else on that side of the field. So good to see he's back today. Anderson makes it 3-0 North Carolina.
You got to do the dirty work. Check out the check by Matt Wright on the All-American Curry. Curry stops his feet to plant and rip. Wright anticipates, and then you give it to the 5th-year senior, the 25-year-old. Married Justin Anderson, has a baby on the way in May. This Tar Heel.
Tanner Cook now with this first midfield unit. Justin Anderson and William Perry that you mentioned, Clark. You know, a lot of talk, and rightfully so, about Syracuse's midfield unit. And for North Carolina, it was all about Chris Gray. But this midfield doesn't have to take a back seat to anybody, as we've seen. And it's 4-0 UNC as Anderson strikes again.
Justin Anderson. You saw him go north-south, dodging from up top. And this time he plays the inside game and backdoors his defender. Wyckoff right here plays the inside and is late to recover. Justin Anderson, that's the senior in Tyre and Tucci that have the advantage at the X. You mentioned the possessions and how efficient Syracuse is. It doesn't matter if you don't have the ball.
Gray now got his defender hung up. He'll look to move quickly. Comes up field and scores.
Point scorer, Chris Gray. He had an easy one on his first rip from the outside. This time he's behind the cage. He's making it rain with a backhand shovel shot. It has been all heels in the first quarter. Pure domination.
Gets a step, but not enough. Covered nicely by Connor Marr. Now back at X for Rafis. He'll survey the field, look for cutters. Finds one in front. And Syracuse gets on the board.
Trimboli hits the back of the net for the Cuse's first goal. And Trimboli this season, we saw a lot of outside rips in the past from him. But I think his inside game has improved big time. A lot like Justin.
In this building for Syracuse. Nate, older brother. There's William Perry. Running on the field is Cole Herbert, celebrated freshman for North Carolina. Perry's gonna fire it. Score! Ice cold specialty.
I mentioned Anderson, the righty Dodger. Tanner Cook, the lefty underneath Canadian. William Perry, the baby fridge. 5
possession once again to the heels. McCarthy, he'll look to dodge, now behind the cage. In front, wide open again. On the rebound, McCarthy is there. Paul, Carolina's getting wide open looks.
Too much pressure on your goalie when you play off-ball defense. It looks like the Syracuse defense, to be quite honest with you, everyone's like rushing to the ball. It doesn't look calm. It doesn't look calculated. It looks frantic and discombobulated. They have to do a better job off ball, communicating, being poised.
So, 6th turnover for Syracuse in this game. Anderson now down the alley. To Gray. Here's Cook. He'll score! Right on cue card.
American, big, thick Canadian who loves his left hand and can absolutely make goalies pay. On a righty goalie in Porter, look at the location of this shot. Once again, a Carolina shooter with time, room, and no one on his bottom hand. Bottom hand? I mean, that's party time for these guys.
That was the pole Matt Wright, who forced Porter to make a great kick save to prevent it from getting worse. Now Anderson, Porter makes the initial save, but a great shot. Brian Cameron buries it, and everybody for the heels getting involved.
Anderson comes down the alley, hands free again. Porter makes a nice stop. And unlucky, Cameron comes in for the backhand. Things are bouncing Carolina's way, and the wheels are falling off the bus for the Cuse.
Cuse has been off target on their last 8 shots. Now Rafus looking to come upfield. Bowen pushes him extended. Here's Scanlon. Finds a cutter quickly up top. Now you're not going to do much about that when Dordovic has that much time and space for that rock.
A lot like when Chris Gray has time to set his feet, Tucker Dordovic. This is gorgeous. Right underneath the crossbar. Defender comes out, presses, shoots around him.
Tillman. Still 15 to shoot. He gets free and scores!
With the 7 points, and McCarthy with the 3 goals, but Tillman just gives them a different look because of his quickness. He's from the state of Colorado, where he played exclusively as an attackman in high school, so he'll go behind as a midfielder, get Dearth out of his comfort zone, and his big field to wreak havoc.
Curry with a full head of steam. He backs it out. Here's Griffin Cook. Flag on the field, delayed call against North Carolina. So we'll get our first man-up situation of the day. In the favor of Syracuse, but we'll see what the call.
Like Virginia's chances. I just think he's different. He's a different kind of competitor, and he always delivers in the clutch. He's done it since day one.
Think about what he did in Carolina's loss to Virginia. He won 11 of the last 12 draws, and a goal and an assist to go along with it.
Yeah. Today against Utah, he's 20 of 26, won 11 straight. Dordovic again. The righty bomb, Cotter. Dordovic's been a bright spot. Sets his feet. He lets it fly upper 90s to 100 miles an hour on a lefty goalie, and you sting the offside of Colin Krieg. I don't care how quick Colin Krieg's top hand is, his explosiveness, no one matches that kind of
full head of steam. Good look to Cook, and he scores! You could see that developing, Kark, and it was a thing of beauty.
Everyone from Carolina works a little bit harder off the ball because he can thread it just like that. So if you're an off-ball player when 4 and Black has the rock, you know he's going to fit it in a tight window, and you will have every...
Connor McCarthy, Henry Schertzinger working on that second unit. His twin brother Harry injured this year.
Help in, we're doing right.
Trippy just looking to dance in front. Down to McCarthy, over to Gray. Behind the cage. Solomon. Trippy on the much bigger dearth. Can Trippy use his quickness? Kelly scores!
Chameleon, because he had that beautiful far out feed, right? Across the center of the field. Well, this time now he becomes the goal scorer. Would be Perry, Cook, and Gray. Those are the three guys from the outside that really can sling it.
Gray misses. Now just 11 seconds on this man up for North Carolina. We've gone under 10 minutes in this third quarter. Still that same 8-goal lead. Perry scores! We already told you that was his spot. Now he got a second chance on this man up, and he wasn't going to miss it this time around.
Perry and Chris Gray are probably saying to themselves, wow, I can't believe how much time and room I have to let it go. We've seen Chris Gray from the outside, same spot as Perry, and then Perry now twice has been able to settle the field, making those athletic plays and forcing Duke to over 20 turnovers. But Carolina now with the ball, they kind of chilled out a little bit. One for their last 14 in shooting.
Well,
Not so
how about
fast.
2 for the last 15 then? That was a rocket. 9 goal scorers, I think, for the Heels in this game. The freshman.
9 goal scorers, 12 different shooters. Herbert was one of the top-rated.
Hiltz. Freshman Canadian. Boy, that is a rocket. Good Lord.
See the release by Owen Hiltz, and Parker Alexander right there, 23 in black, will say my bad to Concrete. He kind of put him in a low-angle spot, and that is just an amazing shot. In the top hand speed of Owen Hiltz, you can lull a guy to sleep like he did in that spot and just fire it.
Tucci's fresh and he scores!
This is one I think Drake Porter is going to want back. And Carolina's put crazy pressure on Porter. One side of the field when they're up top. You can't do that with 23 in white. Equally effective shooting on the run, righty and lefty.
What a goal! How did he score that without? He had to bank that off of a North Carolina player. Let's take a look at that again for Syracuse, who's really having a big day.
He's dominating for the Orange right now. The problem is the offense from Cuse hasn't been in rhythm like they've been in the past. We talked about how efficient this unit was, but Tucker Dordovic showed up to play.
It's great to see they have had fans, students, a small amount watching a game or two earlier, but this is the first time we've actually had family in attendance, so that's pretty cool. Carolina man up for the next 35 seconds. Great. What a pass! And finished by Trippy.
It really is. I mean, your extra man, you thread it through the heart of the Cuse defense, 2 sticks to the backside, right where Trippy has to be. The little jumper on the pass kind of changes the...
McCarthy and Trippy. Now here's Schertzinger. Young man out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Trippy's going to get a look. He'll shoot and score.
Lacrosse coach. I'm going to watch a ton of tape on North Carolina. Just the way they move the ball and the way players move without the ball and the anticipation. You know, when Chris Gray has the ball, he gets his 5th assist of the day.
His season average by a full point. Trimboli cuts that lead now to 9 goals for North Carolina. That's going to be his 2nd of the day.
Jamie Trimboli has had a big-time career at the Cuse. Huge overtime goals. His bread and butter has been the righty outside shot. Comes full circle.
Quarter card to kind of even things up. And then Tucci came in, late third here, early fourth quarter after getting some rest, and his legs were clearly fresh. McCarthy continues the party for North Carolina with that second midfield unit.
Some injuries in the past. He comes in as a grad transfer from Princeton. Thought last year he was a force for Coach Madelon and the Tigers. And he's heating up. Like, if that first midfield isn't enough, Notre Dame. I mean, this league is too competitive. There's too many good players on this Syracuse team. If they play defensively like they have today, they have no shot in those games, Chris. They have no shot. If they play defense, the line has had their way. It's been an onslaught with every player in the offensive set having opportunities to score. This time it's Jacob Kelly. It's been all heels in the dome. These players will remember for the rest of their lives, and those guys have had fantastic careers.
Go, Tommy!
Herbert, he hopes to have a fantastic career when all is said and done with North Carolina. Scored his first goal as a heel earlier in this game. Now he's got 2 on his career.
Yeah, you just see the size and the burst from Herbert, right? And then when you get into his body, he'll swat you off. Size and speed kills.
Play a role, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, especially in the heat, too. And when you're going against a team who has one guy, right? Last week, LaSalla owned that matchup against Tucci and Tyre. But if you bring a little bit more in terms of the temperature and the heat late in May, you want these 2 guys. And Carolina's been relenting at 20. You call off the horses. Well, got the starter still in. Lance Tillman to Solomon, whose brother did some work at the Dome. I thought Nicky's older brother.
While waiting for his dad to cook the steak. Yeah, it's exactly. Shepherd's pie has like a week's worth of vegetables inside the pie for me. I'll just have that as an appetizer.
And some meat, too. You inject more protein than any human I know. So fine, I'll let you have Mom's shepherd's pie,
yes,
Dad's steak at the Tyre's house, and enjoy.
And the horn sounds here in the Carrier Dome, Paul. 21-9, all heels. Rough outing for Coach Desko and the Syracuse Orange. They're back at it, though, next Saturday at Virginia. Carolina, meanwhile, a week from tomorrow against Notre Dame on the ACC Network. All smiles for Coach Bresci.